Hello YouTubes, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. As always, we are joined by our lovely avatar, Zombie Steve, and we also now have with us Zoe and Wash for this episode. So when last we left, we were going to set up a Nether Star farm with Wither Boss using Industrial Foregoing, and I've been working on that. There have been a few minor technical details, but I think I've got things going on now. First things first, we're going to need more wither skulls. I had quite a few, but I've already sort of run through a bunch of them during testing. So let's I wanted to make sure that I had more. So we've hooked back up the Ender IO powered spawner. If we come in here, powered spawner for wither skeletons. And I also threw in the capacitor of what is this doing here, which I got out of some chest. And it seems to be making quick work of spawning these guys, as you saw. And that led to actually the first technical difficulty. So if we take a look here, when the withers spawn with a Fortune 3 add-on, they dump a lot of stuff. I mean, look at all that stuff from one pulse. And sometimes the pulses happen pretty darn quick back to back, as you can see. And the XNet item extraction from the Mob Crusher, the Industrial Foregoing Mob Crusher, was not fast enough. So originally, back in the olden days of a few weeks ago, we had that XNet feeding items into a chest, which then hoppered down to originally a cascade of chests for extra buffer size, and then eventually to an ender chest once we got that working, or once we had the ability to make ender chests. But that process was just too damn slow. There was just too much stuff coming in with every spawn, especially with that super capacitor. So what we did was we got some Ender IO item conduit, and we put some extract speed upgrades in it. So now it's 20 items per operation. So now you can see that we are, no matter how much it's dropping, we are pumping them right out. So that's the first problem to have overcome. The next one was, actually come back up here and show you, is that we were getting a crap ton of stone swords and bones. So I took a look in my ME system, because I haven't been practicing good ME inventory hygiene with things like this, and realized I had 11,000 bone in there and like 500 and some odd or several hundred stone swords. So that's no bueno. So I got the trash can out, and to be fair, that was before I had conduits or the ability to make lots of conduits that had filters in them, and I wasn't really thinking that far ahead. As I've said numerous times, I'm not really an expert. I'm just trying to get there by forcing my way through this kind of expert mod pack. So what we did here was going into our ender chest, which is sending stuff to our ME system. I put in a whitelist, and I'm only accepting Intermedium Essence, Wither Skeleton Skulls, Sulfur, and Drops of Evil. And then all the other types of bones and swords and other garbage, including ender swords, which I don't need a ton of enders clogging up that either. But a lot of this other, especially the bones and swords, stone swords, are not going into my ME system now. So we got that cleaned up, and we got plenty of wither skulls coming in, and nothing is left on the floor. So that is good. So that's the changes here. And then if we head back over to the base, as I put new places into the area, new rooms and new expansions and new things, I need to, now that I've sort of overcome the shock of this huge mod pack with all sorts of mods that I was not familiar with. I'm trying to do things a bit less gray stone brick and make things at least a little more visually interesting just to keep myself entertained. And I found that, since I'm learning a bunch of new mods, I should also look at things like Chisel. Since the last time I played any serious amount, Chisel has all sorts of things in it now. In particular, the factory block line is sort of cool, has a lot of cool stuff in it. The laboratory line has a lot of cool stuff in it. There's even Futura has some cool stuff. So I'm just sort of playing with that stuff. Now I will grant you that means that some of my initial creations will be a bit busy and a bit crazy and even a bit ugly. But it's just me trying to figure out which of these bricks I like, and etc. So we're over at the old, what I used to call the shooting range. It was just a dark room with a powered spawner in it that I could use for sword practice and laser gun practice to get experience on them back in the olden days, a couple months ago or several weeks ago, whatever it was. But so now I'm got a rotating elevator here from Open Blocks. And then I'm going to go downstairs, and this is what I've changed that room into. I've got some Futura blocks in the entryway, some aluminum scaffolding stairs. Again, just trying to sort of find things that I like. Sturdy factory blocks in a pattern on the wall, laboratory blocks for a nice white ceiling, enlightened fused quartz for lighting of the floor, etc., etc. So if we take a look here, I'll break this bad boy open so we can see what's going on. Alright, so this is our Kyronite, which we tested over the last episode or so. And it is, if we take a look, oh crap, I just sent all that to my ME system, so I'll have to go get it back. But if we take a look at it, let's just do that right now. Brown magic, teleport over here, grab some of this. Teleport back upstairs. Run back over. So the Kyronite is from the Tier 2 Void Miner. It is the special crystal there, and it is witherproof. So if we hold a mouse over it, Kyronite witherproof. And we tested that, and it's true. The wither cannot break it and cannot escape as long as you don't accidentally build your T one too high so that it spawns in the ceiling and escapes through the top. So on that note, the Wither Builder has a show working area, and it will actually show you where it is building this. So if we open this up a bit more, you can see that it is building it in these spots here, which is perfect. We want to make sure that it is at base level, not one too high, or the wither might spawn up above and escape through the roof. So that working area looks good. And then we need to feed that. So one of the things I definitely felt, and have felt many times now since while I was trying to get this set up, was that the spawning blast does actually hurt you. So when the wither is built, he's invulnerable, and it's like gets 10, 10, 10 health as he powers up his health, and then he goes boom, and then he's vulnerable, and he does that. That spawn does hurt people, and I was concerned and had heard that it might break, pipes and other fragile things that were too close to the structure. So I have created a little walkway underneath here, which we can teleport down to for cabling this guy. So let's just do that. So now we are directly under the center of our Wither Prison, and that's the Mob Crusher up there, or the Wither Builder up there, I mean. And you can see we've got an Ender IO set to insert Soul Sand and Wither Skulls. And we've got power running up there. And down here we have a chest. Now this isn't completely automated yet in that whenever I want to run this, I'll have to come over and throw stuff in the chest. I haven't piped ME over here, and I don't feel like making any weird things that are expensive and not taught to my ME system yet, like quantum entanglepers and other, item teleportation things. I'm not going to be using that much, that horribly much. I don't think. We shall see. So we've got this to extract, always active. So as soon as we throw this stuff in, the soul sand and the skulls will go up to the Wither Builder and it will build things. And then of course flux networks, we have that now and that's beautiful. So we just slapped a flux point on this bad boy, hooked it up to our spend it network. So now everything's got power here and we're good to go. So if we come back up here, you can see that out the back we have a mob crusher. Once again, we want to double check the work area. Now this bad boy has a +2 range add-on. So the way the range add-ons work is that without it, it just does a 1x1 3, which would just be in the wall right in front of it. +2 makes it +2 to the left and the right, and then it just extends far enough to make a square of the base. So in other words, 1x1 +2 is 5 for this edge, and that means that it's going to go out 5 as well. So yep, we got that. It's plenty big enough. It should be taking care of the whole situation. So we are good. One of the things that you need to watch out for is you want this to be at the base. I don't know exactly where their hitboxes is, but the loot appears to spawn at ground level. So you want to make sure that this working area goes all the way down to the ground and it's not one up in the air. So don't put the mob spawner or the mob crusher there, put it at ground level. And I'm not going to put a fortune add-in on it. I know that fortune, or I've heard that fortune doesn't work on Nether Stars. There are other things that we want that this guy drops, like Supremium, but I'm not sure. I assume that fortune doesn't work on this monster at all. So we're just not going to bother. They're sort of a pain. You got to make the fortune add-on, and then you have to, which takes a pink slime ingot, which is sort of a pain to make. But then you've got to also take that fortune add-on and enchant it to fortune 3 at your enchanting table or however you do enchants. And that's just too much work, considering that I don't think fortune will even work on the Wither boss. So of course we got this guy hooked up to, it is extracting, so we are extracting loot from the mob crusher, and that is coming down to our inner chest, which goes to our ME system. I don't think I need to whitelist anything here, blacklist anything here or send anything to a trash can, but I will double check. We'll have to let that run a bit and see what happens. And then of course we've got another flux point wirelessly beaming power on our Spindit network. So this is all good to go. Now, what's this, you might ask? Well, I'm not exactly sure what people were thinking, what they were thinking when they made this Wither Builder, but it does have a work energy buffer. So in other words, at 500 RF per tick, it reaches 20,000 and supposedly spawns a wither every 40 ticks. Well, 40 ticks is only 2 seconds. So what happened when I first turned this on, which was quite alarming actually, was that since the wither is invulnerable for the first, I'm going to guess at least 12 to 14 seconds that it appears, what happens is that this builds one, a wither appears, 2 seconds later another appears, 2 seconds later another appears, and you have 6 of them up at once before the mob crusher starts killing them. And so if you have a ton of skulls and soul sand in there, you've got 6 raging wither bosses in there at all times until you run out of materials. And while it seemed to not cause any problems, I am a cautious fellow, and when you have that much spawning going on and that much craziness and the explosions and all of that stuff, it just made me nervous that there was going to be a glitch. Either there would be a glitch and one would come out the wall, or there would be a lag problem, or there might be a glitch in the world, or there might be problems with collecting the stuff. So it just the whole thing made me a bit nervous. So since I had this timer lying around from my Grains of Eternity or Grains of Infinity, whatever farm, before I realized that yes, I could use Kyronite instead of making the witherproof blocks, I decided to get this bad boy out and tinker around with the delay so that now I've got the Wither Builder set to active on redstone signal. This has a delay of 11, and then it sends a pulse to this block, which activates the Wither Builder or gives it a nudge. And so now what happens is I think basically every 11 ticks I get a pulse. Every 11 ticks I trigger the 40 clock. I don't know exactly how it's working. I'm not sure how the math, pardon me while I cough. I'm not exactly sure how the math is all working out, but the bottom line is that with this sucker set at 11 by trial and error, I get one wither and it becomes vulnerable and it dies, and then shortly thereafter I get the next wither. So the withers aren't stacking up. And so that seems to be working. I tested that out right before this, and it seems to be okay. Is it necessary? No, probably not, but it makes me feel far more comfortable. So with that being said, let's button this bad boy up and see if it chooches. So I have brought some skulls and some soul sand with me, and pardon me while I slowly build. Is this all set? All good? Everything ready? I think so. So we'll go down here. Everything looks good to go. We'll throw some of this in there. So we've got a wither up. The first one is fast, but you can see we just have one. Boom, it's now vulnerable, and the mob crusher killed it. And there's a pause, and now another one. And you can see how this is sort of chugging up slow. That's what the timer is doing, is just making this slow down. So it's vulnerable, and it's dead, and we're still chugging along. And another. So before, this was just filling up constantly. So literally I would have 6 of them up at once. Not a huge problem, but it was quite disturbing. Now you can see from my health that I am taking damage from its birthing pains. So we go 10, 10, 10, it's healing, it's healing, it's healing, and then boom, it spawns. And that is hurting me. So, not a lot, because I've got decent armor on. And the armor is helping a little. But it was doing some damage to me. So, if you're not armored, or don't go AFK, that kind of stuff. So it's not a particularly safe room, but I think it is working, and working fine. And how are we doing on wither skulls? Got 38. And the wither farm has them trickling in at a reasonable rate. 39. I do have Fortune 3 on that one, and that does seem to be helping. So this is coming along at an okay rate. And I can just leave that running in the background, and we should be doing fine. So what are we getting out of this? So I am up to, if I could type, so we're up to 98 Nether Stars, so that's good. That is doing well. Most of that was from me testing. I was farting around and then I just ran through a bunch of stuff. And most of my testing was just trying to get the timing right on that timer. I'm still not exactly sure how the math is working there, but the timer of 11 seemed to be doing what I wanted it to do. So that's coming up nicely. We've got more wither skulls being made. We have tons of soul sand, I think, and that's super easy to get. 3,500 soul sand, so that's good. We're getting these guys, so these withering souls, can make us more skulls, so that can supplement our farm. It won't keep up with them, so it's not like you can have an endless supply of skulls with your killing, but it is something. And I think that's about it. Oh, the only other thing was that that timer, when you put it down, actually let's go back and take a look at that, because that was another thing that made me scratch my head a bit until I realized that I could probably turn it. Boom. That might have been the last one. So this timer, it sends its pulse. Oh, there it goes again. It sends its pulse out the orange arrow side. And of course, in an annoying way, it points the orange area straight at you. So if I were to set it down right here, it would point the red skull pulse at me, which means that when I'm trying to set it down there, I have to try and set it down over here, and I got to set it down like, it's all just a pain. But what you can do is you can use the smart wrench to click on it and rotate it. So it's an RFTools Timer, and this is an RFTools wrench, and set it down however you want, and then right click it until it gets pointed the direction you want. And let's get away from this noise and craziness. And go back down here. 105 Nether Stars. So we're just cooking along there. Now what are we going to do with these bad boys? Well, one of the things we're going to do is... we're at tier 4 on our void miners, but the structure frames for tier 5 require Nether Stars. So we're going to need like 140 or so Nether Stars just for that. So if we go structure frame for these bad boys. No, not those bad boys. What have I done? Oh, because we're already at tier 4. I'm at tier 5. So when we go from tier 4 to tier 5, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Prismarine shards, which isn't a big deal. And then Nether Stars, which now isn't a big deal. Ionite crystals are the thing there, and we've already got 3,000 of them. So we're doing fine with that. So we just need another 40 Nether Stars or so, and we'll have the materials we need. Assuming we have enough tin, we will have what we need to go up to tier 5 on the void miners. Oh yeah, we got plenty of tin ore now. But that does remind me that since my ME system isn't doing anything right at the moment, I should F10, short for block of tin, and get that busy working on a whole bunch of tin blocks. All right. So we're going to need a bunch of that tin cooked up, and then we'll be able to do upgrading of our void miners. Things are starting to get serious there. What else is going on? Yeah, I think we're doing all right. I'm not sure what to work on anymore. I haven't checked on my nuclear reactor for a while. Probably should do that. I think everything is fine and stable, but efficiency is 99%. Cooling rate, or the cooling is still going up at 228. As we get closer to 5825, that cooling rate will go down and down, or the temperature will go down and down. Hopefully, we're at 1.6 million, which is about right. Everything is fine. We have, don't be doing anything weird there. So we have still full drum of deuterium, so everything is working fine with our deuterium fuel. I guess one thing we could do, really the only sort of optimization we need here, assuming that we don't need power anytime in the near future, is we've only got 240 buckets of neutron fluid. I don't know how many we're going to need. I might try and get a feel for how much neutron fluid we're going to need in game. But if I think we're going to need a lot more before we get there, I might make just another little small nuclear reactor here and use the tritium that I'm getting out of here, because I got like 2 full barrels, so like 8,000, 8,100, 8,200 buckets of tritium that I've generated from my electrolysis of heavy water and from the fusion reaction of using deuterium. So I could make another little reactor right over here. No spacers, so this is a toroid size 4, which in other words means that your purple plasma is 4 spaces away from your fusion core, because we've got 1 for the electromagnet and then 1, 2, 3 spacers. So in a size 1, it would be electromagnet here, pink glowy plasma there, and then that there. So it would be a 6x6. So a 6x6 would fit. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. No, 9x9. That makes more sense. 3 in the middle and then 3 on either side. So we'd be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. So we could squeeze in another here, and I could always blow this wall out a couple spaces if not, and feed deuterium and tritium into that. If I decide we need more neutron fluid. We should be having 0 problems with ender pearls, correct. All the resident ender we want. We're barely using any for cooling. So that's fine. What else is going on? So probably I don't think I'm going to need neutron fluid, and if so, I'll probably worry about that in a bit. But one thing we are getting, that's sort of a pleasant side bonus, is we're getting a ton of Supremeiam Essence from the Wither Boss farm. So the Nether Stars was what I was expecting and what I'm getting, up to 108 now. And it's probably run out of skulls, but that's fine. But Supremium, I did not know that they dropped them, and I'm happy to have them. If we take a look at this stuff, so Mystical Agriculture is... I've got something to open. right here. We have not opened that gate yet. I don't know how to make this. Oh, I haven't worked on Astral Sorcery enough to make this yet, or Botania enough, because I need runes of Whatchamajigger and resonating gems, and so I need to work on magic before we get into mystical agriculture. But that will not necessarily stop us from doing recipes in mystical agriculture. Does it not have a? There's no chapter on it. So let's just take a look at here under at mystical. I'm not familiar with this at all, other than I've been seeing the Inferium, all of this Prudentium, Intermedium. I've been seeing all this garbage. And as near as I can tell, you make magic plants that allow you to farm. So apparently you can make a Neutronium crop. You can make Awakened Draconium crop, Dragon Egg crop, all sorts of weird crap like that. And get seeds to make all that stuff. And there's all sorts of weird things you can do. And seeds, and near as I can tell, it's just basically a way to mass produce rarer stuff by growing materials. This kind of stuff looks a little nice. These charms that might be cool. So I'd like to take a look at those. In particular, night vision and some of these might be sort of cool. But anyway, the reason I'm babbling about that is now that we're getting Supremeiam Essence from the boss, we might be able to bust into some of this stuff and start figuring out what this does. So in particular, I think Supremium is the next, or not the next, but a next gate for our, let's see, I think this is Terra Steel. We know that, which I haven't made yet. But I think this might be, this red thing here for harvest level 11 might be Supremium. So if we could make a couple of Supremium ingots, we could get that off and possibly get credit for this at the same time. And if so, we might get some free infusion crystals, whatever those are. So that might be a good way to sort of jump ahead there. And just in general, it looks like you can take the Supremeiam Essence and downgrade it. So we might be able to work our way backwards towards stuff. So if we look for uses of Supremium, you can downgrade it to Superium, and then you can downgrade Superium to Intermedium, and then downgrade that to Prudentium, and downgrade that to Inferium. So by doing all of that downgrading, what we should be able to do is make ourselves ingots of all the stuff that we need, and then possibly jack them back up. So, in fact, why don't we try that right now? Actually, let me pause and see what run time we're at, and then we'll see if we want to do that or save that for next episode. Okay, we can squeeze in a few more minutes here. So, if we do something like that, now we have some Supremium, and now, how far down do I need to go? Intermedium, Superium. Okay, I need to go down to Intermedium. So if I do this, maybe I don't. Actually, I probably don't. Let's pause. So if I come here and go Intermedium, grab these. Now these Intermedium ones we got from using the arc furnace from Immersive Engineering to recycle mob drops. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Boom. Cool, cool. So now we have upgraded to a Supremium ingot. Supremium. So now we have a couple of those. And now if we go back to Supremium, if we do this, we can now make some Supremium. Yes, maybe. Cool, cool. And now let's see if we can get ourselves a harvest level increase real quick here. We want the sharpening kit. And these are slow to melt. In between this episode and next, I might play around with, if I do have the ability to do this kind of stuff, I might try and read up on these charms, because those look sort of neat. And it looks like we could get into that even if it's not, even if we haven't opened the gate and made our infusing crystal thing. And I can look into making that and see how we do that. Alright, so let's check this bad boy out. We're going to need a flint. Hey, look, a couple flux cores. I wonder how those got in there. Oh, I remember exactly how those got in there. That's my safety stock. We never want to use up all of our flux cores, or we'll have to recreate the dimensional transceiver or whatever and grind it up, and that was just no fun. All right, so we're not getting gate recognition for having this, so we will have to figure out how to make Terra Steel at some point, which I just have been too lazy to do. What am I doing? Going here, doing that, and that. Supremium, mining level Supremium. Now I have no idea what I need Supremium to break, but hey, at least I've done it. Mostly I just wanted to verify that that's really what it was, and it is, so we should be good to go there. Excellent. And that probably does it for this episode. So I'm going to read up a bit on mystical agriculture. I might start working on tier 5 of these bad boys, because pretty soon we're going to have enough Nether Stars to make that a reality. I'm sure I'm out of Nether Skulls over at the new Star Farm, yep. But the Wither Farm is chunking out Wither Skeletons at a decent rate. So while we've been talking for the last 10-15 minutes, we got another, I don't know, maybe 30 Wither Skulls. So that's all good, good, good. So just in a couple hours of runtime, we should have all the Nether Stars we need to upgrade these bad boys. So I'm just going to double check my 10 blocks levels and start crafting all of the bits that we need for that, and we'll get up to tier 5. I also got to read about, I think tier 6. I think tier 6 is special. I don't know. I think we're a ways away from tier 6 anyhow. Alright, I'm babbling at this point. We're now moving well beyond my target time of 30 to 45 minutes, so I'm going to call it an end right here. Thanks for looking at my Nether Star and Supremium farm, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.